Here's how I installed my inline hydraulic e-brake system.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
This is my 1997 E36 with a full M3 swap, and every single bearing, bushing, seal, and sensor has been replaced. So this car is pretty solid, and we're just gonna make some fine-tuning adjustments in order to take this car from a time attack vehicle to a drift car. Now today, I just have to finish up with installing the brake lines, but let's walk through everything I did in order to get to this point.
The first thing I had to decide was what kind of hydraulic e-brake system was I going to install, because there are two options. You have the standalone system where you're going to be adding rear calipers to the rear of the vehicle, or you have the inline system that utilizes the existing brake lines and rear brake calipers. Since I'm building my E36 into a drift car on a budget, inline was going to be the best option for me. It also eliminates a lot of complications of installing rear calipers between extra mounts or welding, and utilizing those rear calipers that are already existing on the vehicle is just simple. Now, while there's only one way to run the brake lines with an independent setup, there's actually 3 ways that I've discovered to do it with an inline setting, but we'll get to that a little later on in the video. The main thing with the inline setup is that you're interrupting the rear brake lines after they get through the master cylinder, but before they go to the rear caliper, so that you can install the hydraulic e-brake system and then manually lock up those rear brakes with the handle inside the cabin. So the next thing was I needed to discover where I was going to mount the e-brake handle. I chose the most common spot, which is just to the left of the shifter, but there are a few places you can put it inside the car, and you got to pick what works best for you. So after I tore apart my interior so that I could get an idea of where I was going to be putting my bracket, it's time to start fabricating a piece to mount the bracket to. I used cardboard to shape the area that I needed to a rough estimate, and then I was able to cut off a piece of steel that I had around the shop. I have seen online, and depending on your car, you probably are able to buy this part, but since I had metal lying around, I wanted to do it myself. Once I had the rough shape of the metal piece, I need to drill out the hole so that I could bolt this to the frame, and then bolt the hydraulic e-brake to the bracket. This part was probably the most lengthy process, but once it's done, it was ready to mount, and then the next thing is working on the brake lines. So I discovered that there's 3 ways that I could run these brake lines. The most common and the easiest way is to just cut the brake line underneath the vehicle as it's running from the master cylinder to the rear calipers. Now, on a lot of older cars, you would have one brake line that goes from that master cylinder, and when it gets to the rear of the car, it then tees off and goes into each caliper. This would be a very simple process to just cut the line underneath where the e-brake handle is mounted, run it up, and then run it back down. Very simple. Unfortunately, this car, like a lot of other cars you're probably working on, has a newer type of traction control system where there's actually 2 brake lines going from the ABS pump back to the rear wheels, where with this make it a little bit more complicated. So it is possible to take those 2 rear brake lines, add a T to them, bring it up into the master cylinder, and then back down with another T that goes back in those individual brake lines. I wanted to avoid cutting my brake lines since when I built this car, I bought brand new brake lines from BMW, and those aren't cheap, so I was not planning to cut into those brake lines. Now, the second option I found is instead of teeing off the first half of the brake lines, you can put in one brake line that will go directly from the master cylinder and bring it into the e-brake handle, and then just tee into the rear portion of the brake lines. Once again, this one wasn't appealing to me because I don't want to cut those brake lines, so that left one option. My plan was to remove the brake line that goes in between the master cylinder to the ABS pump, because the master cylinder has 2 lines that come out of it, one for the front brake lines and one for the rear brake lines. And inside the ABS pump, it will tee to go to each individual wheel. So the thought with this is I can take it from the master cylinder to the hydraulic e-brake handle and then back towards the front of the car into the ABS pump, and then that is just going to use the rear brake lines, and I'm not cutting any lines that are underneath the car.
Now it's time to route these brake lines from the hydraulic e-brake up to the front master cylinder, bleed the brake system, and hopefully do some drifts. So now you guys are caught up. I have drilled 2 holes here that I'm going to be running the brake lines through. So now it's time to bend and shape these and get them through.
I did buy rubber grommets to help stop rubbing from the brake lines onto the metal, and I did install those before the brake went through. I also applied some shrink tube just to apply a maximum amount of rubber to stop any metal rubbing. So this is what the first line looks like that is going to connect into the ABS pump, which is the return line. It ended up being tucked up nicely right underneath the master cylinder. And then this is what both lines look like once I finish them at the e-brake handle. This is what it looks like underneath the car. As you can see, the shrink tube on there, and then it comes around, goes up above the transmission and the slave cylinder. I made a mistake and I made the one brake line too short, so I actually had to put an extension on here. When you are doing this, don't make your brake lines too short.
All right, so all the brake lines are hooked up for the hydraulic e-brake system. Now it's time to bleed the brakes and test it out. So the brakes are bled, the wheels are on, and while I still have it up on the jack stands, I'm thinking I'm going to test it out. Alright, so that first one was first gear. Now I'm going to put it into third gear, get it up to about maybe 70 kilometers per hour, and see if it does it. Alright, I've got the car back down off the jack stand, and there's one last thing I need to do before we take this thing for a test drive. When I originally bought this e-brake handle, the handle was up here. Now, obviously that was much too high for installing everything, so I chopped it down to a more perfect height, but now it's just raw metal, so I bought a little bit of grip tape or hockey tape to kind of wrap around here and give me a little bit of grip in case I get some sweaty hands. Perfect, now I'm ready to go. I mean, it works. First time, just going straight forward. Try going a little faster. It's a straight line pull. Everything's working good so far. All right, found a little bit of a dirt road. We're gonna try doing like a little bit of a 180. Yeah, it worked on dirt. All right, we got a right-hander. That worked. So there, we're all done with the test drive. Now I've got to see how much my interior can fit back together here, or how much I'm going to have to lose. One thing that I didn't think about that you guys can learn from, I did this the whole time with my e-brake up. One thing, if I had to redo it, I would have checked my e-brake because it comes down, it fits right in there. So if I could redo this, I'd move this forward just like 1 or 2 millimeters. It's all it needs, but the tension's gone, so it works. But we'll have to see how it is once I actually hit the track. One thing that I did notice with the inline system is when you're pressing on and you have the hydraulic e-brake pressed in and firm, and you go to press on the brakes, it's going to push the hydraulic e-brake system back forward so that the rear fluid can go through. So I think essentially the rear brake fluid is coming through, pushing the hydraulic valve open in order to send that brake fluid to the rear wheels. So it's kind of just like your brake pedal is going to be an override if you're trying to press them at the same time. There's no point in this engaging because your rear brakes are already engaging with the brake pedal. All right, so I've come to the conclusion that my interior pieces are just not going to fit. I did go ahead and I notched this side out on the left side to try and get it underneath the caliper or the master cylinder, but even then we're still far off from this mounting point. The side coming up is getting really tight between the master cylinder and even this net piece, which isn't, this is the important piece because this holds in my gauges that go here, and it holds in the switches, and it holds in the window switches. But even then, I'm looking like I'm gonna have to cut out all the driver's window switches, and then even then I'm gonna have to basically cut the whole thing out. So this is just not going to work. I'm going to end up just cutting everything until there's nothing left. So my plan is just to put a piece of sheet metal flex from post A to post B and then cut out all the marks for everything that I want to go in, and everything will just be mounted flat up against here. Okay, I found this piece of sheet metal. Should be easy enough to shape that, or I think I'll go with this. This is a little bit thicker. Should hold up a little bit better. It's time to mock up some cardboard. All right, I just finished up with my panel, put the glove box back in. So we're missing all of the interior trim, but this is what I made up. Came out pretty good. I mean, limited tools, basically a hammer and some cutting tools. Couple screw points, self tappers to go into the frame. Drilled that to keep that tight. Put plastic weld on the back side of everything. There's a little bit of flex to it, but it's okay. And then on the left side, there's only one screw up there that was holding it in. And then you can see fan turns on. The light is there because there's also an automatic temp switch, so that will just tell me if it goes on automatic. But yeah, so that's how the whole e-brake install finished. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys found this video very informative and useful. If you did, please smash the like button. The next step on my drift build here is getting more angle, and that's going to involve these two parts. So if you want to see what that's about, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.